Today we're talking about the nervous system and its importance in fulfilling your soul purpose, in living your divine destiny, the life you came here to embody. So we're going to talk about the theory, the science behind it in the first part, and then of course we're going to do the practices which will help you learn how to regulate the nervous system, but also to expand its capacity, because we're going to learn that it's not only about regulating the nervous system, like what everybody is talking about, but it's also expanding its capacity to hold more light, more energy, more stress. So in order to fulfill our vision, we're going to be forced, right, to expand our capacity. Otherwise, we're going to stay in our own comfortable bubble and we're not going to reach our potential. So in order to do that, it's a matter of capacity. And this is like a muscle that we expand, we grow the capacity that we can hold the frequencies, the energies, which might be uncomfortable at the beginning, but that's why it's a gradual process and we develop it daily, step by step, like going to the gym. So we're going to learn a beautiful framework now, because it's not only about regulated or dysregulated nervous system. We're going to learn about how, very briefly, you have it also in the workbook, the theory, the science behind it, the sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. We're not going to go too much deep into this because it's in the workbook and you can find it, of course, everywhere. We're going to go into much more the subtleties about it and the practices. And actually, why don't we start with a small win? Meaning, I want to share with you three very simple practices to help us regulate the nervous system, to come much more into presence, into here and now, into relaxing our nervous system, right? Because we'll do much in the second part the much more advanced practices. But now, if you will, just try. It's very simple, just a few practices that you can do in few seconds and will make a shift in your energy. You can observe it immediately. So the first, of course, is the breath. We're going to talk about much more about the breath. But if you will, inhale from the earth into your abdomen, drawing the energy, filling your belly, right? Hold for a few moments, and then a soft exhale into the earth, gradually and longer than the inhale. Once more, inhaling deeply, inhaling, expanding the abdomen and even in the chest area, and then deeper exhale. And one more. And exhale. And on the exhale, imagine how you're releasing the tension in the diaphragm, in the belly, taking it into the earth. Does it make any shift in your energy? The second very short practice, it's your focus, how you use your sight, looking at things. Usually we tend to focus very on, like having a focus laser watch. But just imagine from where you point your awareness, your focus, your vision, expand it to the periphery, to look and to contain more of the field in front of you. See what is in your left, in your right side, lower, above. Just become aware of the whole room where you're in. And just notice how this shifts the state you're in. Does it? Beautiful. And the third one, it's pause. Even for me now, when I'm trying to write, to get your attention, to fill the space, not to make sounds, not to have silence, but usually that's some restlessness. But when we pause and we're comfortable with the spaces in conversations when we are with people, and we pause maybe just for a few seconds and allowing this space to exist, our nervous system relaxes deeply because it feels it's safe. Nobody's rushing us, nobody's chasing, no tiger is there to threaten us. It sends this message to our nervous system, right? So let's dive in. Okay, this was just a small taste of what we're gonna do a bit later. I want to share with you a framework for quadrants, how we can use our nervous system to fulfill our divine destiny. So let's draw this graph. We have here the nervous system. If it's dysregulated, we put the minus, and here plus regulated nervous system, right? What does that mean? It means it's in the, here is when it's dysregulated, it's in the fight or flight or sympathetic nervous system, or freeze or fawn. What means that we're under threat or something is not working. So the system blocks, it doesn't function. It's more in the beta or high beta state, right? And then it uses a lot of our energy, and it's not a healthy state. Like when the tiger is chasing us, which in today's society, of course, is the disease of the century, because we are not threatened from anything outside, but from the file the boss gave us or whatever it might be. We're constantly in this state. And usually people talk only about this. So we're in this stress, and then how do we regulate? How do we relax the nervous system, go into parasympathetic state? And we're going to explore a different paradigm and drawing to understand from a different angle, because the nervous system is not only what is the physicality, meaning the spine, the brain, and the nerves, right? This is the nervous system, but it's actually created by the master system, which is our energy field, the chakra systems, the nadis, the meridians. And actually the nervous system is just a reflection of that, which is our energy body at a more subtle level. The nervous system is at the physical level. So it's not the cause, but it's the result. But still, we can apply and use practices directly on the nervous system, but also on the energy body in order to affect and influence both. So, but as I was saying, that's not the whole story with the nervous system, from dysregulated to regulated, which most people or courses talk about. But also, we have the valence, meaning towards or away. Towards people, our goal, our vision, let's call it the divine destiny or the soul vision, right? It's towards the vision or away, right? This is very important because we can be in a regulated nervous system, but still away from life, from interaction with people. At least this was my story for a big period of my life, for a few years. Of course, like everybody else, I switched from dysregulated, being always anxious and on the run and so on, to a regulated nervous system, doing a lot of spiritual practices, meditation for many years. But what happened was my energy dropped because I didn't had a vision for something to reach. On the contrary, all my needs diminished. I was peaceful, blissful in just being in nature with a very simple lifestyle. And what happened? My energy dropped, and I was here in this space. It was very blissful and fulfilling for a lot of time. But what happened was that my energy dropped, and This is a beautiful state, but if we stay only here, what happens is that we tend to lose actually the regulation, and we move here. So this is the worst state, when we are deregulated and also low energy, away from life. Like here is the depression or shame or the lower emotions, right? When we move here, dysregulated but high energy, we might have anger, frustration, like strong emotions, but negative ones. Still, we feel like we're in power, influencing on the outside, but still not a healthy place to be. This is probably the most effective state. I don't know what was the drawing, but anyway, where the system is regulated, but also we have a high energy. We're moving towards. And what happens is that we transmit what we broadcast. This is the most useful state for fulfilling our vision, for fulfilling our divine destiny, because the people we interact with, and of course, your divine destiny, your vision involves other people, right? So it's not only about you and your nervous system, but what is the influence it has on others. Because people notice, even without your words or even before that, our nervous system transmits. And if it's regulated, then it helps to co-regulate others, the whole room, the other person you're interacting with. This is very important. I remember being in company of spiritual masters for many occasions. I noticed how my whole system began to relax very deeply, coming much more into presence, alignment. The energies within us align when we are in the presence of somebody who's deeply regulated, right? So we influence others as well, and when we combine this with an attitude towards life, joy, happiness, right? This is magnetic, and this is the sweet spot, let's say, where we want to be when interacting with others, fulfilling our mission, our vision. But of course, we cannot stay here all the time, because the energy is not like this all the time. We need also to rest, right? So we go here, we regenerate, we meditate, we go in nature, in a retreat, or whatever it might be, your way of regenerating, where the energy lowers, but still the system is in a regulated space. And then, of course, we alternate this. This is more the creativity space, where we create, where we ponder, where we journal, right? So it's a very, actually, it's a much lower when we meditate. We can go in alpha, theta, and other states. Here it's a more engaged energy, even if the system is relaxed, but still, like for example, doing this kind of video or a public speaking conference or whatever it might be. This is a very useful and productive state of being, right? So this is one important framework that I want you to remember, because it's useful in order to know how to switch between the two. And also, this is what helps actually increase the capacity, right? I mentioned at the beginning, so just one moment before I erase it, just to talk about capacity. So when we stay in the regulated but lower energy, we regenerate. It's very soothing, it's very relaxing for our nervous system, but it doesn't build capacity. So when we are regulated but going out of the comfort zone and doing things that usually would require us to go to dysregulation, when we confront fears, stress, doing things new, but still hold presence and regulation, it increases our capacity, like a muscle, like we're going to the gym, right? Then we go to regenerate, sleep, take rest. then we increase even more the stimuli, the stress. So what happens is that our capacity increases and we can hold more and more energy, discomfort, stress without being affected, without going into dysregulation, right? So some practices, even cold exposure or cold shower or whatever it may be, even running or physical effort increases this capacity. But also on the emotional side, something that used to stress us, like giving a presentation in public, but doing it from a place of presence, of alignment, regulation, each time develops more our capacity. And one of the things that dysregulates us, so there are many things, right? But one of the most important things is emotions. So we're going to speak about this in a different module, how we deal with emotions, how we alchemize, how we transform. First, how we listen to their message, because they are very important messengers. So it's not the theme of this module, but just very briefly, I want to share just how we deal with emotions and why it's probably one of the most important things that take us into the dysregulation framework. So inevitably during each day, we're going to encounter different energies, people, somebody who pushes our buttons. So if we're not aware of the emotions, right, they restrict the flow of the energy. And in consequence, our nervous system gets dysregulated. It blocks the flow, it creates stress into our system. And the more we hold into it without processing it with our conscious awareness, it gets blocked there. So our nervous system gets dysregulated, agitated. It transmits that it's a stress. So on the contrary, when we learn how to observe the emotions, bring awareness to them, they continue their natural flow and they leave our system. They don't have to stay there. They came to transmit a message or life brings something. And if we just pay attention to them, transmit to our system that is nothing wrong, they have the right to exist, and we let them go, then the energy passes through us and it's a natural process. So I invite you just for a moment, if you will, come back to the body, because the emotions are in the body, are actually sensations in the body. Just observe, how do I feel now? How do you feel in this moment? What is present here and now? What emotion is there? And if you don't know how to name it, and it's a practice in order to recognize it, but naming it is taming it. So it has a lot of power to notice it. But at the beginning, you might not know what it is. So that's why it's important just to observe the sensations first in the body and to develop this capacity. So if you will, you can start, maybe if it's a strong emotion, you don't know what it is, but observe where in the body you feel some contraction, some tension. Just scan the body now for a moment, from your head to the shoulders, to the chest, the back, the abdomen, the legs. Just observe, pause. Where is any contraction, tension in the body? And just stay with that sensation just for a moment. Notice its shape, color, feeling. And can you name it? We don't have to go into the story of it now, because we're going to do this at the alchemy module. We're going to learn what story is associated with that and what belief and how to transform it. But for now, we're just learning to pay attention, which is very important and very soothing for the body and for the nervous system. and just breathe into that area. And just observe from the observer space without identification with it. Actually, the more we observe it, we switch from the limbic brain into the prefrontal lobe of the brain, and that actually shifts a lot in what happens in the nervous system. So if it's under the radar, if we don't notice it, doesn't mean it doesn't affect us. On the contrary, this is where it sabotages us, blocks the energy flow. But when we bring awareness to it, we switch actually the consciousness, the energy, and we let it flow. So just by observation, it is allowed to continue to process, to be transformed. So I hope this simple exercises helped you, because it's one of the keys working with our energies, with our emotion. It's a foundational practice. And I invite you daily to ask yourself, what am I feeling now? What am I feeling now? What are the sensations in the body? To come back more and more to the body. So, of course, as I was saying before, our internal state, which is associated to the nervous system, of course, broadcasts a signal. So people sense this without putting words to it. So that's why it's so important to, first of all, for us, because it's important for our health and how we feel, to learn to regulate our nervous system, but also leadership of the nervous system, right? The two quadrants on the right side, remember? So first of all, it's for us to learn how to regulate our nervous system, to feel good, to feel alive. But then we have to, if we want to influence and to manifest and to have an impact in the world, we need also towards the vision, right? To increase the energy while keeping the regulation of the nervous system, right? And to go with both hand in hand. So we're going to do in a moment a few practices to help us with that. And one thing to remember, what is the role of the nervous system and what it's asking all the time? The question that the nervous system is asking, is it safe? Is it safe for me to open? For you, right? For me, in any environment where we are, but also for the people that you interact with. They're asking, their nervous system is asking, is it safe to trust this person? Is it safe to open? And it's not working to mimic it, right? So some people, of course, try to put the mask that they're happy, that they're confident, and to some degree it works, because on what we fake it till you make it, right? On the outside, it influences our internal state. But there are micro gestures like the eyes, like the breath, and things like this that you cannot mimic. And a very sensitive nervous system will notice this. So it always comes down to pure authenticity and pure intention of the nervous system, first to be regulated, but also to involve the heart. This is the vertical line that I was talking about, which is towards or away. It's connected to our heart. If it's open and towards, serving, caring, loving, or it's protecting, away from, right? Is it for me, about me? What is, and for in most cases, it's about protection, not only taking from others or manipulating, but also about, I'm not feeling safe, so I need to protect. So when we realize that we are actually protected all the time, and we're going to do another module, how to protect our energy, which is very important also and is connected to this, because in order to open up and to have a proactive attitude towards life and towards others, first we need to feel safe ourselves. And I'm going to draw a different drawing to understand the nervous system also from the energy body. And the practices that we have also in the academy about the coming back to presence, inner sovereignty, inner freedom are helping us to work on the nervous system, but from a higher perspective with the energy body. So the presence, if there is one tool that is the most effective, is coming back to presence, right? Coming back to our center, to our vertical line. When we breathe into this channel, we're drawing the energy in, and it's most relaxing for our nervous system, because our nervous system needs to be safe. And when we are present, this is the most safe thing that you can do, because we are here, we are present. Our nervous system wants to know there is somebody home. When we are home, we are safe, and our nervous system is expanding and can increase the capacity, can take more stress. So there are, the chakra system. So there are two. I know my artistry skills are terrible, but anyway, just for illustration and just to understand that we have three main channels. One is the central channel, which is called Shushumna in Sanskrit, and the other is Ida and Pingala. One is the feminine, it is descending, it's connected to the regulation, to the relaxation, to parasympathetic nervous system. The other is the masculine, which is the sympathetic, which is exciting and about the energy. The solar, the other is lunar. So what happens is that, of course, all the emotions, the energies are going through these channels, and they influence us every moment of the day. And energy might go to one channel or the other throughout the day. Even it's connected to the nostrils. And if you notice, if you have one nostril more open and close the other, and it might change from 2 hours difference, the one or the other is more active system. So you're more into relaxation or more engaging. So what is important is actually to balance the two, and these are complementary, right? The yin and yang. But also we have the central channel, which is when these two are in balance, the energy can flow through the central channel. This is the seat of the soul. So when we are functioning from the central channel, actually we can experience the states of peace, of bliss, of love, which are the attributes of the soul, right? They are not emotions, they are our true nature. So when we experience this, of course, the both and also connected with the hemispheres, right and left of the brain, they're in balance. The whole system is in balance. So, as I was saying before, the purpose is not just to regulate the nervous system; it's to combine and to balance the two. This is the most effective way of living. So, the key, what will help us, as I was saying, these are the practices with the central channel. It's so important. But also what we're going to do now, we're going to do a few practices. One of them is to help us balance the two channels. We're going to do an alternative breathing exercise. But I just wanted for you to see this drawing, to understand also from this point of view. There are many angles from which we can explore the nervous system, and we're going to do throughout the journey in the Divine Destiny. And each one of them, of course, builds on each other and brings a different perspective. And all the practices that we're doing are helping with this process. But what I want you to remember before we do the practices is that the nervous system, it's always asking, is it safe? So this is the foundation for our life. If we don't feel safe, we're going to do nothing. We're not going to be able to fulfill our vision, our divine destiny, if we don't feel safe. So that's why it's so important to take care of our nervous system. But then it's also important, the second quality is how to increase the capacity while maintaining safety. And of course, this is what we're building, and this is what the exercises are helping. So this is what we're going to do next.